I have a pretty good Steven Spielberg story. So I was in Ready Player One.
Great movie. Great,
such a fun
movie.
epic. Just one of those few epics that reminds us again that he's the great filmmaker of our time. So I remember they brought me up there, and they don't ask you to audition. You just go to where they're filming and you wait until he says it's time to film. And that's just what you do. And the night before, I was so nervous. I'm not an actor really. I'm a comedian. So I was just like pacing outside of this hotel going, should I read a book on acting? Like, what am I going to do? And I went in and I said, hey, I'm thinking that the voice maybe is like Boba Fett because this guy would maybe want to be. And he goes, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I go, okay, well, I guess that's the end of, that's pretty weird. And, I think a big reason I'm friends with Mark Wahlberg and Michael Bay, and a big reason is because I tease them. I joke about them to them, and nobody else really does that. So Steven Spielberg has a very good sense of humor. And the reason he's such a good director is he's so positive. There's no negativity. So he'll say, yeah, let's try it. A little more like color to the voice. And then you'll do it. And he'll go, okay, maybe a little louder and pace it up a little bit. And then you'll do it and he'll be like, that was great. That's perfect. Mark it. Print that. And by the way, this is all digital, but he's like, print it. That is perfect. Oh, that was great. Let's do it again just like that. And then you can do whatever you want. And I thought, oh, wow, it makes everybody, even Tom Hanks, be like, I am a good actor, So I sort of got that he was sort of boisterous and funny. And then one day, and Michael Bay does this too, one day he just wasn't getting it right. The acting was fine, but so he asked, let me operate the camera. So he's operating the camera, and he just couldn't get it right exactly. Couldn't get the shot right or something. And he goes, you know what? I think this is a Cheetos moment. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, an assistant runs up with Cheetos and an A&W root beer.
Wow.
And he says, thank you. And I go, is this a Cheetos moment? He goes, yep. And he had some Cheetos, and then he shot it, and it was perfect. And he moved on. And then later we were watching Ben Mendelsohn, who plays the villain in the film. I was just there watching him act because I'm fascinated by actors because I'm not one. So I'm like, oh, this is really interesting. This person is so good at this. And as they're kind of moving the cameras around, he and I are talking about film, that's really what he wants to talk about all the time. We were talking about Witness for the Prosecution. He just knows everything about every film. And then there was a pause in the conversation, and he said, you know what? I think this is a Cheetos moment. And I just yelled out loud to the set. I go, this is a Cheetos moment. Steven Spielberg is having a Cheetos moment, and let's make sure it's crunchy. And he kind of laughed, and he went, do you want some Cheetos? And I said, yeah, absolutely. What, am I not going to have this moment? And so an assistant brought Cheetos for him and Cheetos for me. And we're sort of quietly eating Cheetos. There's really nothing for me to say. He's kind of contemplating, I think, maybe the future of film. So he's eating Cheetos, and I'm eating Cheetos. This is maybe the most surreal moment I've ever had and will ever have in Hollywood. And we're kind of both silently eating Cheetos. And then he looks at me, and he takes some of the Cheetos out of his bag, and he puts them in my bag. And I don't know what to do. I don't, but for some reason, I just took some of the Cheetos out of my bag and I put them in his bag. And then he looked at me and goes, there, now we're Cheetos brothers. And he walked away. And I just have never, I'm so rarely speechless. I just didn't know. And I think I said out loud, well, that does it. That's the craziest moment I'll ever have in my life.
Great story.
But then, well, what was really funny is then, months later we go to promote the film at Comic-Con, and I think he asked for some Cheetos, and they brought it, and I said, yeah, I'll have some Cheetos too. And I said, yeah, it's good to be having Cheetos with my Cheetos brother. And Steven Spielberg, and by the way, I only call him Steven Spielberg. Like, he even said to me, like, call me Steven. I'm like, okay, I'll call you Steven Spielberg. And they brought the Cheetos, and the star of the film, Ty Sheridan, who's amazing, he goes, what do you mean Cheetos brothers? And I said, well, Steven Spielberg and I are Cheetos brothers. And he says, well, I want to be Cheetos brothers too. And I swear Steven Spielberg goes, yeah. And then he walked away. Kind of like, not everybody gets to be Cheetos brothers.
Nice.
But it was just such like a beautiful moment. It's so funny. And yeah, so that's the craziest moment I'll ever have in Hollywood.
You have to start a band or something called the Cheetos Brothers.